My name's Dev, and I've helped thousands of students land their dream offer in AI. Earlier this year, I interviewed Boris Meinardus, and in this video, I've put together the top clips from our conversation. He's a top AI researcher, and he works at Sakana AI, one of the top startups in the world. We talked about whether the perfect AI resource exists, what kind of projects you should build, and whether to focus on theory or practical frameworks. If you want to break into AI as fast as possible, this is the video for you.
So that's aside with respect to how you invest your time. Now, with respect to resources that you use, in general, I think, yes, you will never find the perfect resource. So just pick one and stick with it. But stick with it doesn't mean that you have to force yourself to learn everything from this one resource. It means use it as the curriculum and learn all the contents, but also leverage other resources to understand things that you might not be understanding from this one main resource that you're using. Watch YouTube videos, read blog posts, ask an LLM to explain you something where you can interactively ask questions. So definitely try that. But as I often say, after you have learned the basics, I would definitely recommend also a project-based learning approach. So yes, definitely building a portfolio. Machine learning is in many, many areas such an empirical science where you just have to code a lot and test a lot and just learn different frameworks, learn how to write slightly more efficient code, perhaps to run things faster. It's important to understand what projects are for, especially again, if you're a beginner, projects are there for you to learn. And if you just view it like that, as the objective you're optimizing is information gain or just learning new things, you'll naturally progress to more and more complex projects and more impressive projects that will then naturally just impress not reviewers, recruiters or companies or employers. So yeah, it's just always a learning process.
Yeah, and I love the part you said about projects not needing to be unique. They're more for your learning. So I think a lot of people getting started worry about whether or not the project they're going to build is unique, right? Has someone implemented this before? But I think that doesn't matter when you're first trying to build a portfolio. It's more about, is implementing this project going to teach me something? So if I re-implement this paper, sure, other people have implemented this before. If I check the GitHub repository, like for the authors or researchers, obviously you can find the same code, but actually reproducing that yourself, or when possible, without looking at the researcher's code, is still going to be like a wonderful learning experience.
I don't know how wonderful it will be. I think it will be a lot of pain, but but it will definitely be a net positive. But yeah, no, re-implementing a paper is really one of my favorite projects to work on, at least in the beginning. And there are different levels of re-implementing a paper for different objectives that you're trying to go for. But yeah.
So apart from re-implementing papers, are there any other projects that you recommend? On the more practical engineering side, I always recommend fine-tuning a RAG project, not just importing the libraries, actually reading, say, the LoRa paper, the original RAG paper from Meta AI as they build the projects so they can actually get a deeper understanding. Wondering what you think about that approach.
I think when it comes to working on projects, you have to, as mentioned before, it's important to have the objective of information gain just to learn as much as possible. But especially when it comes to engineering focused projects, which are important, I definitely agree with that. I think it's important to know that your objective is to start at a certain point with a certain baseline model that is bad at certain things and that you can improve it. If you start with an LLM and you want to have it process some documents or some large library that you have or some database that you have, which it just can't do that great out of the box, then you know, okay, here's a tool that I could use which is called RAG, for example, and that I can implement. And by implementing that, you learn how it works, you learn where its shortcomings are, how to improve it. There's a ton of literature on RAG if you really want to go in depth into really optimizing that as much as possible. And it's always this idea of, okay, I'm starting at point A and trying to improve. And what are the tools or the techniques that I know or that I can learn, that I can look up to improve that project? So I think projects in general that have that can leverage this step-by-step iterative improvement process are really great. And that means that I think projects that you can apply to your own life, for example, can be relevant. Just again, from some people, it just might be easier to think of a problem that's more hands-on and more real than just coming up with an abstract problem. Okay, let's optimize the transformer based architecture such that we can get more better negative log likelihoods scores. That's a bit abstract, okay? But if you have like more of a practical project where, oh damn, I want this model to run faster, so I have to implement more efficient inference techniques, or well, this model is way too large. I can't actually run it on this GPU that I have with this memory. So, okay, I might need to look up distillation techniques or quantization techniques or all of these, yeah, ideas. Again, so that's for some people perhaps just more realistic, or no, not realistic, but easier to get behind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It's almost like you wanna get as close to possible to discovering the techniques on your own as you can. Obviously, we're not when we're starting out, we're not top researchers or anything like that. So it's not going to be a one-to-one thing, but it's like we want to get as close as possible to that kind of discovering inventive process as we can. Because I think that's when the concepts really, really stick with you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also what employers are often looking for. You're starting with some baseline and you are iteratively improving it with different techniques that you know or that you will learn or that you can just look up. You don't have to reinvent everything. Again, you don't have to start with the most optimized model. You can start with a simple model. And again, for the sake of your learning process, start with a simple model and then iteratively improve it with certain techniques. And then you can measure the progress. You can have some nice visualizations so you can actually see which technique or which improvements has which effect. And that's just really important. In real world settings, if you're a software engineer, your job will be to make this pipeline more efficient, right? So you're starting with a baseline and you want to look for techniques that you can apply to make it more efficient.
On the note of building projects, is it more important for beginners to get a strong theoretical foundation, or is it better to take advantage of all these existing frameworks so they can build their first project sooner? So I jokingly always emphasize to viewers that they should not be a TensorFlow Timmy, which is like my term for people who just import libraries without any understanding of the underlying math. No hate to TensorFlow, of course.
I think it depends on the point where you're at. I think it's good. The very first step would be you have no idea where you start. So you just take a course, you just take some curriculum that teaches you all the necessary fundamental theory of, again, old school machine learning, all the way to the up to the classic deep learning um, models, deep neural networks, transformers, RNNs perhaps, LSTMs perhaps. Perhaps if you're a bit explorative, also graph neural networks or all these different kind of techniques. And that is very, yeah, it's a strict curriculum. But after that, I would say it's more important to get your hands dirty as early as possible. So that can mean if you're more on the applied side and want to build applications, because again, machine learning engineers are not this. It's such a wishy-washy term. Working with AI can mean many different things. So and it just depends on where you want to end up in the end. And it doesn't mean that you make one decision and then you'll stick with that forever, right? You can always just pivot around and see what's more interesting to you at a certain point in time. But I think you have to get your hands dirty as early as possible, because that is something that you can very easily overlook if you just stick to learning theory. If you just learn all the theory about certain machine learning models and you just can't implement them and can't realize them because you have no idea how to fit that onto a GPU, it just won't work. You have to do both. And I think it's easier to stick with just watching lectures because you then don't have to think of what to do next. You just do what they tell you. It's obviously tough to learn, but for me at least also, it's easier to just follow a curriculum and just put in time, just learn. I mean, they just tell me what to do and I just do it, right? But working projects is very something very different. And I think it's absolutely okay in the beginning to just be a TensorFlow Timmy, to just get your hands dirty. And once you feel comfortable with certain libraries and you want to start optimizing, then you will necessarily have to learn certain techniques or the theory behind certain techniques. I think, again, after learning the basics, it's more it makes more sense, or it's easier to digest or consume theoretical content if you have a practical application in mind. If you're working on a reinforcement learning project where you want to have some cool um, robots drive around, for example, first setting up all this environment and building up a tutorial is one thing. That's a lot of work. But then if you actually want to train this model and make it better or improve it, at that point, you just have to learn the theory and have to understand how it works to know how to improve it. So that's where it just is much more applied, the theory that you learn, and has much more context, right? So I think it's a good balance between both that's necessary. You can always just for fun read papers on the side, which is also what I recommend, but especially as a beginner, I feel like for many people it would make more sense to learn theory in the context of something that they're actually working on.
100%. That actually gives some motivation as to why they're learning all of this theory rather than learning it like in a black hole, in a vacuum. Like, I kind of give the same advice to people when it comes to all the maths you need for machine learning. Some people kind of think they need to go and complete a whole multivariable calculus course before they start learning machine learning. But I would say no. I think you need like only like fairly basic math to start studying machine learning, basic derivatives, matrix multiplication, and then you can get started. And then once you get to a topic like backpropagation, then okay, then you can go and review some multivariable calculus so that you can understand backpropagation. But it's like there's no need to learn multivariable calculus in a vacuum all before you even get started with exploring machine learning concepts.
Absolutely. Again, that's where I differentiate between the basics. And again, that's where you just have a curriculum, where you just have a course, it takes you through all the basics, and you just learn that if the course is decently well put together, then it will be motivated to why this is important. Because if you have a machine learning course and learn the math in the context of machine learning, then it will all likely be motivated by the goal that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, exactly. I really 100% agree.
Since you've made it to the end of the video, I have two more resources for you. The first is our accelerator, where we help students land their dream offer in AI engineering. We even have a money-back guarantee. I've never seen anything like this before, and you can learn more at the link in the description. The second is a very special YouTube video in which I go over the new way to get internships and job offers. It's not grinding leak code, it's not begging for referrals, and it's not waiting in long lines at career fairs. Check it out, you don't want to miss it, and I'll see you soon.